Hello and welcome to Marvel Snap on G4G. I'm Napalm Dawn, and today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the end of the Young Avengers season. It is the season that is ending here on September 3rd. So this was a season that featured the card of Kate Bishop, otherwise known as Hawkeye. Sometimes referred to as Lady Hawkeye, usually just Kate Bishop, or Hawkeye. And we also got cards like Wiccan and Speed. America Chavez got some alternative art cards in this one. It was a pretty good season for me, and actually pretty consistent, and that's what I'm going to go ahead and get into for this video. So this is a bit of a weird situation for me, in the sense that I actually did well in terms of ladder position or ladder ranking, but actually didn't do that well on the pass. With about an hour left, or about 2 hours left or so, an hour and 3/4, I probably could push the pass a reasonable amount. I actually did take care of a couple of rungs on the pass today, going from, I believe, 36 up to 38. So I notched about 2 levels on it, but it's actually been my ranking that has been the high one on this one. Typically, I don't care about PvP. I'm what you would call in MMO terms, essentially a casual. I don't even know if I've ever hit gold. I think maybe 35 or 37 has been my highest rank. I don't push. I'm super casual with Snap. There are definitely days where I don't even log in. Sometimes it gets frustrating in what works on Steam and what doesn't. So on Steam, a lot of times when I go to do a purchase, I get the window where I can go ahead and, work with my payment that is saved onto Steam. And then the window is like frozen. I can't scroll, can't do anything with it. It just basically sits there and is unresponsive. And I actually have to close the whole game to get it out. I can't even get that small pop-up payment, where you put funds in the Steam wallet and everything like that. It's just totally unresponsive, and this has only happened recently. So that gets a little frustrating. Then if I happen to play on any of my Android devices, the Snap app for Android has seemingly not been tracking my matches. So it has been a toss-up for me, especially this season. Where can I pay for something if I want it? Where can I actually track my matches if I want to track them? And it usually winds up being that my preferred area to play is on Steam. And then if there's something that I need to purchase, I wind up pulling it up on my tablet or my phone. So that's been a little bit frustrating. Now, there are other Snap tracker apps different from the one I use that seem to work just fine when it comes to mobile. I don't know if they happen to have a PC client. Being somebody who's casual when it comes to Marvel Snap, you might even say, well, why the hell are you even tracking anything? Sometimes statistics are just good. It's nice to know how you're doing, and if a deck is doing as well as you think it is. I gotta admit, these variants are cool. Can't say that this Black Cat one is understated, but then again, when is Black Cat ever understated? This Rogue one is cool, and honestly, that Black Cat one is pretty. But yeah, so here's where I'm ending up in the Young Avengers season. It is a bit of a flip-flop from normally how my seasons end, where I usually get into the 50s and start on these season caches. However, it is my PvP ranking that is usually not particularly high. The reason why it's a flip-flop this season is largely because my decks have been efficient. When I'm playing them, they actually seem to be getting wins. So this, yeah, it is a little bit of an interesting role reversal. I would honestly like to get this variant. I am disappointed in myself that I did not reach this level of the season pass, because this is just a beautiful card. The very synthwave, vaporwave coloring on it, the way the teal stands out on the arrows is cool, but the way that it stands out on the face is great. Kate looks pretty. The colors are just really, really awesome. And it just evokes thoughts of vaporwave, synthwave, Miami Nights music videos on YouTube and everything. It is definitely a shame that I did not make it up to that level for this. I wasn't paying attention. I had family in town since Friday, and had I realized the season was getting that close to the end, I probably would have pushed harder. Also, World of Warcraft: The War Within started in early access about a week and a half ago, and then went full steam ahead a full week ago now, about Tuesday of last week or so. And that's really been drawing a lot of my time. Also playing it hand in hand with my girlfriend, where I'm not as able to do a double duty thing. Like, it's easy to play Snap and WoW at the same time, queue up for a Snap match, play World of Warcraft until the Snap match queues in, and then just hang out, go hide somewhere in World of Warcraft, do the Snap match, and then go back. In playing with her, doing the kind of double duty thing didn't really work out. So, yeah, unfortunately, bad timing. However, statistically speaking and match-wise, here's what I had this season. So, my new discard deck had a 90% win rate over 10 games, plus 26 cubes is pretty good. This is not one that I've historically been using, but when I have discard-related dailies, I was whipping it out, and sometimes after I get what I would consider, all right, I've gotten my wins for the day, the decks that I really like, I go over and play some of the others just to see how they're doing, or to get season pass quests or tasks done. So believe it or not, new discard has actually done pretty well for me. Black Knight Blade, Corvus, Lady Sif, Jubilee, Black Cat, Blink, Hela, who has now been nerfed when Hela restores her cards their -2 power. But when you're looking at these cards to be restored, like Death and Infinite, Giganto, Magneto, they can suffer that 2 power loss there. Or Blink changing somebody like Jubilee or Sif into one of these cards is also really handy. I'm not going to say the deck is foolproof, but the deck, similar to how an Agatha deck goes, it has multiple ways of achieving its goals. Whether you're discarding these cards and having Hela bring them back, or Blink is replacing a Jubilee or potentially a Sif with Hela, who's bringing back discarded cards. It works out pretty well. It folds in on itself like nice origami. Auto Red Hulk is a deck that I've been really in tune with. I've been using it since Red Hulk has been around. That one had a 100% win rate over 9 games. Usually I was using this deck if I had to drop a 6-cost card for a task. It's all about trying to lower enemy output so that Red Hulk gets beefed up pretty well, or hopefully, due to Electro's extra energy or a well-played Psylocke, dropping Red Hulk on 5 and then Arnim Zola-ing him to 2 lanes instead of 1 on 6. Agent Weenie, a ton of drop 1-cost cards as dailies and tasks and everything. So this deck was used a lot. 88% win rate, 14-2. Not a high cube average, but net cubes is pretty solid. Bast, if you can get Bast out early and changing over cards like Ham, Iceman, Snowguard, Yondu, Goose, Scorpion, all the way up to a 3-cost, or 3 power, no effect on Hawkeye, Agent, and Speed. The only ones you have to be careful there are Sierra and Black Swan, or your Snow Guard cards if they are out. It's a fun deck. Bast is a huge boost if you get the right opening hand. US Agent in one lane, Goose in another lane, shuts down their big cards, allowing my little weenie cards to do well. Speed was a late addition, very, very late in the season. He has worked out a little bit. I'd say 2 or 3 matches he's come out and done a pretty good job. Originally, Jean Grey was in there to try to force people into the US Agent lane. And then, you know, Goose is locking out one lane, getting high-powered cards into the US Agent lane and getting weakened on the enemy team. I took her out, put in Speed. Kind of fun. Again, did pretty well. 14-2. I'm always surprised that this deck pulls this kind of number. Hawkeye was inserted in the beginning of the season because her arrows are cheap and pretty effective. However, I don't remember who I took out for Hawkeye. Gilgo's Dildos, which is a Gilgamesh deck. This is another one that I really, really like and feel really in tune with, like the Auto Red Hulk one. No real changes to this one this season whatsoever. Little bit of a lower win rate than the others at 73%, coming in at 8-3. So it seems like most decks other than Agent Weenie had about 10 matches a piece. And, yeah, you know, 73% is still really solid. Poll the community, and anything 70% or higher, people do really consider solid decks. I posted, I think it was the Auto Red Hulk one once, and I said, hey, I'm winning about 75-78% of matches. I'm thinking of making this change. What do you guys think? And people descended on that post. They're like, hey, why would you change anything that's nearly up at 80%, 75%? That's crazy. I was like, oh, okay, never mind then. Snow Guard is really fun against Magic users. Magic as in the card, not sleight of hand or close-up Magic. Mostly because when you drop Snow Guard and you get the Eagle, which turns off what a lane does, it shuts down Magic and ends the match in turn 6, like the game originally intends. When somebody's dropping Magic, they usually have a longer range plan that involves going to turn 7. And when you drop Snow Guard's Eagle on that lane and you turn off the Magic effect, which is to have 7 rounds in that particular match, yeah, it messes people up. And actually today alone, I did have 2 of those matches that went out that way, or at least one. Let's see here. My decks have mostly been considered uncategorized. There is one of the uses of the discard deck. There's discard, so I think... Was it this Keep You Waiting? No. This one actually turned out to be really interesting. This came down to the wire of Galactus not being able to do the destroy. This was a very, very odd match in the last one over here. Kind of, I feel like I eked out a win, but now that I'm looking at it, 11-4, 3-2, it's not as eeky as I thought. And with a name like Keep You Waiting, I kind of really expected the person to run out the timer for every single round, especially when it's the last 6 hours or so of season, and maybe people are trying to rush to get where they want before the season ends. I really expected to be trolled in this one. It wasn't nearly as bad. This was the Snow Guard one over here. Magic went ahead and said, okay, this is going to be a 7-turn game, and dropping Hawk on 6 says, nope, we're back to normal. This is one of my favorite trollings. I know people like Iloth, they like Galactus. There's certainly plenty of combos or just even single cards in Snap that are trolly as hell. Leech, is one of them. Shang-Chi, a lot of people get very upset at Shang-Chi usage, totally ruining Elaine. You know, there's tech cards, there's high power cards and everything that just irritate the hell out of people. To me, I think it is a really unsung hero that Hawk can shut down really convoluted setups for something. And I'm not exactly too sure what this person was going for. And it may have certainly been a bot. But, you know, Iron Man, Devil Dinosaur going together, that's common. It feels like a very beginner deck. Like, I see what they're going for over here. But by the same token, it feels like one of the early patterns you get into when you start playing Snap. And yeah, Snowguard just turns it off in 6, and we don't go into 7. I don't know what would have been the turn 7 play over here. This one is a bare eke out of the win. It was only 7-5 in the center lane. It was super, super close. But yeah, if you've got a plan and effect, and you're like, yep, I know exactly what I'm doing, got a great hand, pulls are going well, got the setup of magic, I know what I'm doing going into turn 7, and then whoop, all of a sudden you're ending a turn early or back on schedule. Hawk is kind of fun in that regard. And here's actually one where speed came into play. I could have fed speed a little bit more on this one. There was a couple turns where I could have actually emptied my energy and boosted him. The problem was Bast, as you can see here with Sierra. Bast would have been weakening more cards than I wanted Bast to do. It had already weakened Sierra from 4 down to 3. And so, yeah, speed could have been a little bit more boosted on this one, but I actually wanted to play my tech cards rather than boosting speed over there. Agent Weenie deck is fun. I really wish the game would get away from the one-cost task being so frequent. I wish they could thin it out a little bit. But I've got a deck that seems to work for it. So I conceded once, and I forced about 11 concedes the entire season. And over the entire season was 40-8, so an 83.3% win rate over there. So that's the Young Avengers season. And now that things have settled in with the World of Warcraft beta and everything, family is not in town anymore. We're going to be resuming all the regularly scheduled Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux content on the channel, including the streams and everything. So, I will see you guys later. Thanks for checking out the video.